Alright, we're on Chapter 2, Section 2. This one's titled The Geographer's Tools. And it just talks about the things that geographers use in order to learn about the world. Maps, globes, charts, graphs, and the technology that they use, things of that nature. Again, we've done a little bit on the tools of exploration PowerPoint that you guys were putting together in the computer lab the other day. So you've heard about this a little bit already. But our essential question is, what tools do geographers use to understand the world? Well, in order to map the world, cartographers or map makers, so know the definition of the word cartographers. It is map makers. They've been mapping the world for thousands of years now, all the way back to ancient times. Now, today's cartographers use high-tech tools such as the Global Positioning System. We all know about Google Earth, things of that nature. I mean, could you imagine, how the world was when you had to map it just based on what you see? There was no such thing as even flight. So now we have global positioning satellites orbiting the Earth and creating highly detailed and accurate pictures for us to be able to create more accurate maps. There is one main difference between a map and a globe. You think about the map, you think about a piece of paper. It's two-dimensional. However, the globe is a 3D object that you can manipulate yourself. You can spin it, and it simulates the Earth's rotation. And it's for that reason that globes are generally considered far more accurate as a model of the world rather than the map, because our Earth is a three-dimensional globe suspended in space. So it is a much more accurate depiction of what Earth actually is. There are three kinds of maps. There are the general reference maps, which tend to highlight natural or human-made features. There is the thematic maps. Now, a thematic map will focus on a specific idea or theme, such as population or climate. For instance, if I wanted to know, what areas of the Asian continent were the most densely populated, I might find a thematic map like the one found on page 48 in your textbook at the top of the page, and it kind of shows areas of Asia that is really heavily populated by putting dots on the map. So that is a great example of a thematic map. Now, a nautical map or a chart is used to navigate air or water. So that is another specific type of map. Map projections show the Earth's curved surface projected onto the flat two-dimensional space. We've talked about briefly two types of projections. But before we get into that, it's important to know that all map projections onto a piece of paper, because it's not a globe and it's not a three-dimensional representation of the Earth, it distorts the Earth somewhat. Continents appear maybe larger or smaller than really they should on a map. And that's because you're taking a three-dimensional object, the Earth, and trying to represent it on two-dimensional space, the paper. So there's going to be some distortion in that. There is a Robinson projection map, which is generally favored by geographers, and it distorts less than a Mercator map. And the reason for that is that the Mercator projection generally shows a completely flat picture of the Earth, whereas the Robinson projection tries to take in the curvature of the Earth's surface when sizing the continents and so forth. So it's generally considered a more accurate representation. In addition to maps, Geographers will also use charts and graphs. Now, the major advantage to using a chart or a graph is that you can visually display information, and it's usually in a clearer fashion than just simply writing it in a paragraph. We all know the phrase "a picture's worth 1,000 words," where the graph or the chart is essentially a picture that displays information. And I don't know about you, but I'm a very visual person, so I'm able to immediately connect with information that's depicted in charts and graphs, and it's great for summarizing. It is a very useful tool for comparing two sets of information, maybe two sets of analysis of a certain thing. So you set the two charts side by side, and you can compare one analysis from the other very easily, rather than having to read an entire paper and then go read an entire another paper and compare the two. But just know that the general advantage to using charts and graphs is that you can display information more clearly than you can, and more quickly than you can, with just simply text. And that's it, guys. That was painless. So that actually wraps up our entire unit. So I hope you guys are ready for mission 2, rather. I'm sorry, it's not a unit, it's a mission. And I hope you're ready for mission 2, which will explore the U.S. and Canada. See you next time.